May 2025 is going to be a month of revelations, clarity, and forward momentum. Finally, after several months of retrogrades, a whole conference of planets in Pisces helping us to wash away an old chapter, an old self, an old life for some of us. During May, we are finally beginning to wake up to a sense of a new beginning. Mars and Venus will clear their post-retrograde shadow, meaning we are moving into new territory. All the personal planets will be direct, and we are going to have the epic jump-starting of a brand new era when Saturn leaves Pisces and enters Aries, and for the very first time in our lifetimes, meets up with Neptune already in Aries, helping us to give legs to a new vision, dream, calling, whatever is inspiring you now, my friend. So in this video, I'm excited to share with you the key transits and their dates of the most important astrology of May 2025, how you can best navigate these energies with the most ease and grace, and based on the planets and points in your natal astrology chart, who will most feel some of these significant transits that are going on in May. In part 2, I will be doing May horoscopes for each of the 12 signs based on your rising sign. Listen to your rising sign. This will let you know in which area of your natal chart you'll be experiencing the transits. Also, watch your sun sign and your moon sign for further themes and intuitive messages. And as always, I will also be pulling a card for each of the 12 signs as well. So before I go deeper, I want to extend a warm welcome to those of you who are just now finding the channel. I am so glad that you have found us. This is a like-minded community. I practice Western tropical astrology, and it is always my intention to empower you through the astrology. If you want to find your people, you are in the right place. Be sure and subscribe so you don't miss a video, and remember to tap the notification bell so you get a notification when I upload. Welcome back. If you've been watching my videos, thank you so much to those of you who have subscribed to the channel. Your subscribes make a world of difference. So please take a moment now to tap that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. And thank you so much for your support. I'm Betsy. I am a psychic astrologer as well as an intuitive life coach and the author of the book, The Magic of Saying Yes, Answering Your Heart's True Calling. I am a full-time professional astrologer. So if you would like to do a private astrology consultation or coaching session with me, stay tuned till the end of the video. I'll tell you a little bit more about my offerings. I also write about the astrology between videos in my weekly inspirational astrology updates. You can get those free weekly updates direct to your inbox by going to my website, subscribing, and you will also get a free gift from me, a free instant download at the same time. The month of May begins as we are just coming off of a very intense and for some quite volatile Mars-Pluto opposition. The good news is that as the month begins, this opposition is separating. Mars and Pluto are now 3 degrees apart. And when this video is going live on the Taurus new moon, which really activated that opposition, squaring Mars and Pluto, you could be still feeling it quite intensely, so I want to acknowledge that. In short, the Taurus new moon and the Mars-Pluto opposition were a call to reclaim your power, my friend. I felt it very intensely myself. I don't know about you, but for me, what came up was something that had already come up in the past. And this was the 3rd opposition after all, so it didn't surprise me. But this time around, I felt more in my power to speak up for myself. And I also felt the other person involved wanting to be more helpful and help me solve the issue. So some of you could have felt something like that, and others of you could feel like, no, I finally saw the writing on the wall for good. The truth was revealed, and I had to set a boundary or take clear action. On May 2nd, Mars in Leo will leave its post-retrograde shadow. And this is really good news. Why? Because Mars will still be in Leo, but it's now going to be entering new territory. It's going over brand new degrees. This means that our inner Mars is also feeling fired up, Leo energy, on something new. Keep in mind that Mars entered Leo way back in December of 2024, December 6th to be exact. So it has been 6 months, and this could feel to you like a graduation moment. For all of us, our inner Mars has been transformed. If not transformed, we've been building that Mars muscle, which is our drive, our motivation, our fierce self-love, self-advocacy, our stamina. And most of us by now, with all the inner work that we've done in the Cancer and Leo areas of our chart, we're now more ready to take action on something that is calling up our courage, that is calling up our need to provide emotional security for ourselves. In other words, you might feel now like you can rise to the occasion of something that will be a reach or a stretch for you. So this is really good news. Mars will be in Leo for all of May into June until June 17th. And keywords here for Mars and Leo are strength, integrity, sovereignty, claiming yourself as the leader of your own life, and saying yes to, as we say in Leo language, shining your light bright. Also on May 2nd, this is a beautiful transit. Venus in Aries will join up with Neptune newly in Aries as of March 30th. Neptune has not been in Aries since 1875, so this hasn't happened before in our lifetimes. Venus and Neptune will come together in conjunction in the Aries area of your chart. And my friend, this is love, love, love. Venus represents our human love, and Neptune represents the highest octave of love, divine love. When Venus and Neptune come together, it's like Neptune is helping us to activate a heart's desire and to begin to imagine it, feel it, which is the foundation of bringing it into reality. It's a very romantic transit, super creative, definitely a beautiful time to spend time with a loved one or with family or friends. Keep in mind that Venus, when she's in Aries, she is very much a warrior. She is a fierce advocate for herself. We are likely thinking about, what do I want? What's important to me now? What are my values? And what I love about this transit is that Neptune in Aries has Venus's back. Neptune is supporting Venus. You could feel very psychic during this time. And all the transits that I talk about in this monthly report, you could feel a day or two on either side. Because Neptune in Aries is seen as the beginning of a new era, it's definitely a new era for a calling, a dream, a vision that you have, something that's inspiring, something that requires you to take some sort of a risk or a reach. It's a hero's journey for sure. Because of this, Venus coming together with Neptune is jump-starting a new era for us when it comes to Venusian subjects, which are love, money, beauty, pleasure, comforts, all of the things that make being in a body worthwhile. Neptune representing our soul's direction, our soul's calling, our soul's plan. Neptune coming together with Venus is an invitation to align our life choices with our soul's calling. So you could very much feel now that some of the personal planets are connecting with Neptune in Aries, the sign of the hero's journey, the sign of leadership, of us taking charge of following our dharma, saying yes to our inspiration, you could very much feel that a dream or a vision is really getting activated for you, that you're more and more feeling like it's time to take a step, some action in the direction of making it real. How this transit affects you, whether you feel it or not, this month will depend on, like all the transits I talk about, whether you have planets or points that are getting activated by Neptune coming together with Venus. Who will most feel this transit? Those of you who have planets or points between 0 and 2 degrees, maybe 3 degrees of the cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn. That's most intense, most personal, you will feel it. And some others of you will feel it as well, which I will speak about when I do the 12 sign readings. On May 4th, Pluto is going to shift into retrograde motion. The day that a planet shifts into retrograde, or even shifts into direct motion, in this case it will be retrograde, we often feel the energy most intensely, and we already know that Pluto is quite an intense energy. So that's something to keep in mind. Pluto turning retrograde, what does this mean? It's a really wonderful time to process any fears or any anger or any, that's not fair, I can't believe that happened, someone pulled the rug out from underneath you, where you felt that you've been betrayed or that someone else is trying to control your life. Pluto is about power and control. So this is a good time to process any emotional upset around feeling like you don't have the power or someone else is trying to hold on to the power, whatever that is. We usually feel Pluto in our relationships, but sometimes we feel it as an inner conflict within ourselves when there are two parts of ourselves One is holding on to a dependency because Pluto is often connected to our emotional dependencies. I need this in order for my life to feel safe and secure. I can't live without that. That's Pluto. And if any of you are having a difficult Pluto transit right now, or you're struggling with issues of power and control, feeling powerless, I do have a video for you on hard Pluto transits, which is linked in the description box below. And if you read the comments to that video, you will get a sense of not being alone, not being the only person who's navigated the challenges of Pluto, and that can be quite supportive. During a retrograde, we often feel Pluto more internally. That's why it's a really good time to do that inner work, that shadow work around anything that feels scary. And think of it this way, we are moving into new territory now, as I spoke about in the first part of this video. We are being called forward into a new hero's journey. What does that mean? It means our minds are going to freak out a little bit. The ego doesn't want change. The ego wants to keep everything just in its place. Don't move my cheese. So it's very natural when we're about to say yes to something that feels a little scary, that is out of our comfort zone, and we are stepping into the new territory with Venus and Mars now moving forward. Not to mention the epic Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which I will talk about very shortly. Very natural that we would have fears or other negative emotions to process so that we can lighten our load to move forward. Pluto retrogrades every single year for about 6 months. It's going to retrograde from 3 degrees, 40 something minutes, where it is now, back to 1 degree, 22 minutes. And it will station direct on October 13th of 2025. On May 10th, Mercury is going to change signs. And what I find really interesting about this month is that Mercury will be in 3 different signs this month. It will begin in Aries, it will move into Taurus, and then Mercury will enter Gemini, which is pretty wild to me that we will have 3 different Mercury transits during this 1 month. And so our thinking will probably fluctuate quite a bit. Now, when Mercury moves into Taurus, our thoughts tend to be more grounded. They tend to be more focused on security, especially our finances. But also the 5 senses, the sensual pleasures of life, the simplicity that we can create in our lives, spending time in nature, eating the food that is nourishing and comforting, enjoying the beauty of being on this earthly playground. That's Taurus energy. Our thinking tends to be a bit slower in Taurus energy. It takes us longer to process things, and I think that's a good thing because it's better for our nervous system, but we can also be more stubborn. We can also be more fixed. Taurus is a fixed sign. We can be like, no, this is the way it is. I'm not changing. I don't want to do that new thing now. But overall, I think that Mercury in Taurus is going to help us to ground our ideas and our energy, and a bit of a slowdown in how we're processing is probably a good thing. Now, one of the most significant events of May is going to be May 12th, when we have the Scorpio full moon. Why significant? Because Scorpio is a deep water sign. It's connected to the 8th house of transformation, death, and rebirth. It's connected to our long-term financial assets, emotional and sexual intimacy. It is connected to a lot of things that we are quite emotionally attached to. So a full moon in Scorpio already tends to be more emotional. And not only this, but Uranus will be opposite the moon. And Uranus is the wild card planet. Most of us are familiar with Uranus. When Uranus is opposing the moon, it often shows up as another person or situation or event that can be quite disruptive. Very hard to predict in advance. You really can't predict a Uranus event. Although it is in Taurus, so we can predict volatility in the financial markets. We can predict extreme weather patterns. But this will be a really important full moon. It will probably be a skin-shedding full moon. We will very possibly come face to face with fears that were unconscious before to process them. And it's especially important to ground our energy, as Uranus tends to disrupt our sleep. This full moon is happening at 22 degrees of Scorpio. So if you have planets or points in Scorpio or the other fixed signs of Taurus, Leo, or Aquarius, from 18 to 26 degrees, you will likely feel this full moon more intensely or personally. On May 16th, Venus will finally leave her post-retrograde shadow in Aries, and I see this just like the Mars leaving its post-retrograde shadow time. I see this as a graduation moment. Why? Because we have been transformed through both of these transits, and this was a transformation of our inner Venus. So wherever you have Pisces and Aries energy in your chart, you could have experienced what felt like a test in your relationships, a test in your finances, or having to do with beauty, how you see your own physical beauty, your body perhaps, what you love, what you value. This was a period of review and reflection that began on March 1st. And as of March 16th, that journey is complete. Now you may have new insights, new resolve around a relationship or any other of your values that were highlighted around that time. On the same day that Venus clears her post-retrograde shadow, we're also going to have the Sun in Taurus making a sextile. Sextiles are very harmonious transits. They help us with opportunities and solutions. The Sun in Taurus will make a sextile with the North Node of Destiny in Pisces. This sextile is saying, claim your worth. Know that you deserve what you most want. Value your heart's desire. And my mantra for this transit is, I am supported. The universe supports me. The divine has my back. It is safe for me to follow my heart. On May 17th, the Sun in Taurus will make a conjunction to Uranus in Taurus. Sun conjunct Uranus can be an electrification. It can be a light bulb moment. It can be a breakthrough, a wonderful breakthrough. Yes, you might have a breakdown first. This could happen, but keep in mind when you have two planets in the same sign coming together, they are on the same page. They are working together. Conjunctions can feel, we call a conjunction a hard transit. Hard meaning more intense, but a conjunction can feel wonderfully intense, or it can feel quite challenging. So, Sun conjunct Uranus. Uranus is the cosmic intelligence. Uranus does bring in a desire for change, a restlessness, a need to see something differently, to see with new eyes, to open up to more creative thinking, to think outside of the box, as we say, to be more inventive. It can be a jolt of the unexpected, but it can also be a wonderful opportunity that you weren't planning to receive. Or it could be just, as we call it, that bee in your bonnet. I just have to go do this thing that I never thought I would do. The Sun conjunct Uranus is meant to wake us up if we need a wake-up call. It is meant to shake us out of dormancy if we need that, to release us from stagnation, to free us on an emotional level especially. On May 20th, the Sun will leave the beautiful Earth sign of Taurus. Happy birthday to those of you who have May birthdays who are Taurians. I hope you have the most amazing birthday. But before the Sun leaves Taurus, it will make a sextile, again, solutions and new opportunities. It will make a sextile to Saturn in Pisces. This could be a tangible blessing for you. Saturn helps us solidify. Saturn helps us set boundaries. Saturn is foundational. Sextiles are harmonizing aspects, but they require us to see the need for a solution or a workaround or whatever it is we need, and for us to take action on that. Such as your refrigerator breaks down and then you see a wonderful sale on the exact new model that you'd like. So after the Sun makes the sextile to Saturn, after this happens, the Sun will enter Gemini. Happy birthday to all of our beautiful Gemini friends. I also have my Sun in Gemini, so this is my birthday month too, and I love birthdays. Now, if you feel like you've been missing the magic of life, the signs, the synchronicities, Gemini season can bring that back into your awareness. Why? Because Gemini has one foot in the ethereal realms and one foot in the earthly realms. Geminis are open to the divine. It's connected to the alchemist, to the magician, and it's air energy. It's social. It wants to find soul sisters and soul brothers. It's the sign of siblings. It's the sign of the lovers. In Gemini energy, we are always seeking that person to mirror back to us the truth of who we are. So what I love about Gemini energy, because it's also playful and spontaneous and wants to have fun, doesn't want to miss out on fun. What I love about it is it's calling us to lighten up a little bit. Lighten up and enjoy life. Be playful. And it's air energy, so you may experience more communication, more emails, more conversations, more play dates with other people in Gemini season. And synchronistically, Gemini being the sign of the lovers, on May 22nd, the two cosmic lovers, Venus and Mars, are going to make a beautiful trine. Trines are the wind at our back. Trines are the most harmonious aspect. They are often something falling into our laps. Venus and Mars coming together is amazing for our creativity. It's wonderful for romance, especially with both of them in fire signs. Venus is in Aries, Mars is in Leo. Both want to have a transformational experience. Fire inspires us. And this is action-oriented energy because it's fire. Let's do this. Let's take a chance. Let's step into our leadership, whatever leadership is for you. Definitely forward momentum. As your inner masculine Mars and your inner feminine Venus come together, you may feel like where you had an inner conflict, where you couldn't decide on something, where you felt somehow torn, now you feel aligned. Now you're ready. On May 24th or 25th, depending on your time zone, we're going to have the astrological event, the biggest one of May and one of the biggest events of 2025. And this is Saturn moving into Aries and aligning, conjoining, meeting up with Neptune already in Aries as of March 30th. Aries energy is following the call of your heart and soul. Neptune in Aries is, what is that dream? What is that vision? What are you ready to say yes to? What does your heart very strongly desire? And now Saturn entering Aries, and of course every planet, when it enters a sign, it starts at 0 degrees, and 0 degrees of Aries is the very first degree of the entire zodiac. So we call it the Aries point. We call it the world axis. When we have significant planetary conversations happen at the 0 degree Aries point, that is when we often see changes in leadership on the world stage, or new leaders stepping up, coming forward, or within each of us, some part of us says it's time for me to follow my dharma, it's time for me to be the leader of my own life. It's time for me to take control of something that I was wishing and hoping would happen, but I haven't taken enough action on it, and now I realize I need to. And 0 is also the number of pure potential. Anything is possible. It's God's number. Spiritual support is here for us. What I love about Aries energy the most is it's inspiring, it's enthusiastic. When you get a just know feeling, I call it a just know feeling in Aries. When you have this feeling, I just know I have to do this, you can be unstoppable. Now, some of you are wondering about Saturn meeting up with Neptune, and I do have a separate video for you on both Saturn and Neptune going into Aries, so I will link to that in the description box below. But Saturn, like all of the planets, has what we call a high octave and a low octave. There's a whole spectrum of what we could experience in Saturn energy. At its highest octave, Saturn represents the sage. It represents the elder within us, maturity, wisdom, teaching, learning. It's considered a foundation building energy where we want to build a solid, sustainable foundation. Saturn helps us to make something real. But when we've been in la la land and we haven't been attending to the details of life and we haven't been doing the work, or we've been procrastinating, or we haven't been disciplined, then Saturn can show up as the taskmaster, the person cracking the whip on us, the authority figure that's saying no to us or saying you have to wait. Or it can show up as just the mundane requirements of earthly life. You have to jump through these hoops first. Did you know there's a restriction about this? Did you know that there are laws that say you have to go do this? And the thing about Saturn that I've learned is that Saturn is usually, if it shows up in what feels like constrictive ways or negative ways for our human self, to remember that whatever that frustration is or what feels like water poured on your parade, that's often a delay, not a denial. And in delaying us, we learn to be more self-reliant, we learn to be more disciplined, all those Saturn things. So Saturn entering Aries may very well feel like a slowdown, or it could feel like a seriousness or a sobering, or just like, oh yeah, I forgot I would have to do that. Or, oh yeah, I forgot if I want this, that this is involved. Aries energy is the Fool in the tarot. The Fool is excited, enthusiastic, full of inspiration, ready for the hero's journey. I'm going to leap and I know the net will appear. Saturn talking to the Fool, which is what's going to happen when it meets up with Neptune. Saturn may be saying to that very excited, enthusiastic part of us, are you prepared for adversity? Do you have all your provisions? Do you know that every hero's journey involves obstacles that you will have to move through and overcome? And are you willing to go it alone if necessary? In Aries energy, we're usually willing to pioneer something. We know we like to initiate something. We don't want to wait for anyone else to necessarily come around to our idea if they're not with us from the start. But also in Aries energy, we like things to move quickly. We're like, let's get this going. Hurry up, hurry up. We can feel behind in Aries energy. We can feel like this should have been done yesterday. This should have been done last week, years ago. So patience with ourselves. Patience is not a strong suit of Aries. Maybe Saturn in Aries is going to teach us to become more patient, help us to flow more with the rhythm of this earthly life. Now, Saturn is a 29-year cycle. Saturn tends to be in one sign for about 2.5 years. So the last time that Saturn was in Aries was April of 1996 to February of 1999. You can look back to that time and see what happened for you during your life, but remember that there were other transits going on, so it can just be helpful to look at the themes. In my life, for example, I left the practice of law around that time, and I do have Aries energy in my 10th house of career. What happened for me is somebody offered me a travel writing job, and I had never done travel writing before, but it was a good gig because they were going to pay me a good hourly rate, and technically I was an employee, but I could work at home and I could do it on my own. I could set my own hours and all those things. So I had lots of freedom, which we want in Aries. We want freedom. But I had never done travel writing before, and I wasn't sure that they would like my style of writing. And often in Aries energy, we are flying by the seat of our pants. We're doing something we haven't done before. There is a learning curve. So that was my experience. What was your experience, my friend? Leave it in the comments below if you'd like to share. Very possible for a lot of us that we are stepping into something that is new on some level. We don't know if we can succeed at it. That's part of the draw for Aries. And Saturn will be in Aries from May 24th to August 31st of 2025. It will then retrograde back into Pisces until February 14th of 2026, and then be in Aries for good until April of 2028. I do have a separate video for you on Neptune in Aries, but just so you know, Neptune is in Aries now until October 22nd of 2025. It will retrograde back for a few months into Pisces, and on January 26th of 2026, it will re-enter Aries for good to stay until 2039. Now, this is not an exact conjunction of Saturn and Neptune in late May. They will not be exact. Why? Because Saturn's going to be in Aries at 0 degrees and Neptune will already be at 1 degree, 45 minutes when Saturn enters Aries. However, they are still very close. And next February, February 20th of 2026, they will conjoin exactly. So that one we will probably feel more strongly on the collective level, but let's watch and see in May what happens on the world stage as well. Who will most feel this transit of Saturn entering Aries, meeting up with Neptune? Those of you who have planets or points between 0 and 2 degrees of the cardinal signs, and we'll say 3 degrees, some of you with planets or points at 3 degrees. The highly sensitive of you may feel it sooner. The cardinal signs will feel it most intensely, most personally: Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn. Some of you will be getting trines and sextiles from this energy at those degrees, and I will mention that in the 12 sign readings for those signs. On May 25th, Mercury will once again change signs. It will move into Gemini. It will join the Sun in Gemini. And Mercury in Gemini is very communicative. Our thoughts will speed up. We will return to multitasking. That's a Mercury in Gemini thing. I have Mercury in Gemini myself, and I do try to do multiple things at once. And I do often forget I have something on the stove, and I have burned things quite a bit, I have to admit. Mercury in Gemini helps us to problem solve. It does help us to tune into the ethereal realms for solutions on mundane issues often, and we can just have more fun, be more spontaneous, more curious, more open to the signs and synchronicities, the magic of the universe. What's cool is that as soon as Mercury enters Gemini, it will immediately make a lovely sextile to Saturn and Neptune in Aries at that 0-degree Aries point. So this could bring more excitement, more intellectual stimulation, more people that you want to talk to and share what you want to do, or maybe people that you want to get on board with, your dream team, or just, with Mercury and Gemini, we want to share our passion. We learn things and then we want to share with others what we learn. So this is great for connecting with people, connecting other people with other people in support of what lights you up, my friend. Now, on May 26th or 27th, depending on your time zone, we're going to have a beautiful, passionate, intensely passionate new moon in Gemini at 6 degrees. Why do I say passionate? Because it's going to trine Pluto. Now, Pluto will be retrograde, but a trine to Pluto is a positive wind at your back transit that can be quite stimulating. It can definitely open you up to passions that have been dormant. And you may get a revelation. You may get an insight that you feel like is a real breakthrough for you. Not only is it trining Pluto, this new moon in Gemini, it's also going to make a conjunction to Mercury, and Mercury will also trine Pluto. So I think it's going to be a very stimulating new moon. Expect clarity, expect a new feeling of empowerment, expect more communication with like-minded others around this time. You may feel super excited, empowered, ready to take on the world. And finally, on May 29th, the Sun and Mercury are going to come together in what we call a conjunction, also known as a Mercury cazimi. Mercury is being infused with the light of the sun during this cazimi. And this again, revelations, clarity. It could bring you a bright new idea, but it could also feel like something is finally gelling in the mind, Mercury. Something is finally making sense. And it just may be that other people too, or one other person is showing up to say, I'm with you, I have your back, I'm excited for you, let's do it. Okay, my friend, let us do the 12 sign readings now. Listen to your rising sign. This is the area of life in which you will be experiencing these May transits. You can also listen to your sun sign and your moon sign for further themes and intuitive messages. And we are going to start with Gemini because beautiful Gemini, May is the beginning of your birthday season. Happy birthday to all of you beautiful Gemini people. My natal sun is in Gemini, so I'm excited for this month as well. Now, Gemini, I believe that you are going to breathe a sigh of relief this month. Why? Because Neptune has left Pisces and is now moving into Aries, which makes a sextile, a really beautiful harmonizing energy with you. Venus, now in Aries, also harmonizes with you. Mercury, same thing. And once we get to May 24th or 25th, depending on your time zone, Saturn will leave Pisces. And this is a big deal for Geminis. Why? Because Saturn in Pisces has squared your energy. Neptune in Pisces squared your energy for a very long time, for a whole era. Pisces, especially Saturn, because Saturn does put our nose to the grindstone. It does say this is where you have to be, you have to be really grown up. You have to delay pleasure a lot of time with Saturn. Well, beautiful gems. Saturn moving into Aries, it's going to make a sextile to your energy. I think you're going to feel that there is a lightening of the energy, that it's not as heavy, it's not as draining, not as much pressure and tension as you have experienced over the last 2.5 years. Now, it's true that Saturn is going to move back, retrograde back into Pisces for a short period of time, but let's stay in this present moment, shall we? Okay, so also really beautiful for you, gems, is that Venus is going to come together with Neptune in Aries, and this is going to happen in your 11th house of hopes, wishes, and dreams, the house of your current dream, what will make you feel most fulfilled, the house of your people, the house of friends, allies, a social media presence if you have one, where we want to put our message out into the world. The 11th house is, if I didn't say it already, long-term financial gains as well. It really is the house where we gather support, where we gather in community, where we feel like we are getting, for Gemini people, because I'm a Gemini person, I have a stellium in Gemini. I can say out of my own personal experience and with the many people I've worked with Gemini energy, Gemini people need to feel like they have that simpatico support from at least one other person in their life, usually multiple people. Gemini people usually have a lot of acquaintances, if not a lot of friends. And if you haven't watched my video yet on your superpower in Gemini, I have one for every sign, please watch that, because a lot of Geminis have said that they felt very seen by what I had to share in that video. And Geminis need to feel seen. They need to feel like people understand me. Geminis need to feel understood. So that Venus conjunct Neptune in your 11th house is going to be wonderful fire to your air, Gemini. You may spark, you may feel just a new level of enthusiasm in life. And I think a lot of Geminis have felt waterlogged by the Pisces energy and this is really going to be a breath of fresh air for your birthday. Some of you birthday month, I know some of you have birthdays in June. On May 12th, we're going to have a full moon in Scorpio. And that is going to be a heavier full moon than some full moons, no question. It is opposing Uranus in Taurus. We know that Uranus is the wild card, shake things up, discombobulating oftentimes planet. And so, I speak more at length on all these transits in the first part of this video. If you want more, please go watch that. But where is this happening for you? It's happening in your 6th house of daily work, your habits, and your health. So what this could mean for some of you is if you have been dealing with anything toxic in your work situation, if you have been not happy at work, if you have had experienced any sort of health issue, you could get an epiphany or a workaround or a solution from this Uranus aspect, Uranus talking to the full moon. It could come from another person. There could be some, Uranus often does start with something upsetting, and then it opens us up to other solutions, as I like to call them, that then brings in what we needed. So sometimes it comes in a roundabout way, an uncomfortable way. Something has to break first for us to get what we need. But in the long run, we're really glad. The new moon will be in Scorpio in your 6th house, and Uranus will be in your 12th house. Because of that, many of you will get an epiphany. That could be your Uranus moment, is that it's an epiphany. It's wow, I never saw it this way before, or I had a dream. It could come through a dream. 12th house transits often do. And that full moon coming right in the middle of the month on the 12th is really giving us another opportunity to shed a skin, because it's Scorpio energy, co-ruled by Pluto, to shed a skin, to let go of the toxic. It's a detoxifying full moon so that we can move on to all the excitement of your season, Gemini. And your season will start on May 20th when the sun enters Gemini. This is, what I love about the season for you is that Mercury will move into your sign as well. And then we will get a new moon, a beautiful new moon. I love this new moon happening May 26th or 27th, depending on your time zone. It is going to make a trine to Pluto, so it will be quite empowering. It will be passionate. Again, an opportunity to get an epiphany that just takes you to the next level of your power. I feel this as an I'm coming out new moon in your 1st house. And the 1st house, when we have a new moon in our 1st house, it's the beginning of a new chapter. It's a fresh start. And if you have your birthday on this new moon or around the new moon, then that is another sign from the universe that you are about to have a whole new chapter begin in your life with this particular birthday. Not only this, but 3 days later on May 29th, we're going to have what we call a Mercury cazimi, where the sun is infusing its light into Mercury. And what does this mean? We get revelations. Again, this is why I said at the beginning of the video, this is a month of revelations. It's a month of clarity. It's a month of bursting open. I feel a bursting open. That's the image I get. I get an image of somebody with their arms wide open, their whole body, arms and legs open, and their heart opening up. It's almost as though you're cracking out of, you're a chicken cracking out of the shell. You're coming to life again, a rebirth. And that makes sense because Aries energy, which is strongly highlighted this month, that can be rebirthing energy as well. And speaking of Aries energy, Saturn will make its epic conjunction to Neptune. It's not exact. It won't be exact until February of 2026, but it's going to be close because Saturn will be at 0 degrees and Neptune will be at 1 degree, 45 minutes, I think. Close enough that we will feel it, especially if you have planets or points in the very early degrees of any of the cardinal signs or of your sign, Gemini, of your sign, because you will get a sextile from this energy to your energy. And what does that mean? It means there's a lot of support for any dream or new vision that you want to bring into reality. Where is this happening for you? In your 11th house of dreams. Dreams, fulfillment. What does your heart want? That's this house. This house is where we gather support for what we want, where we join groups, where we talk with others online. Maybe it's where you start an online platform, some of you, a YouTube channel or any other platform. It's the house of putting our message out into the world, if that applies to you. This is where a new era is starting for you. You are going to have Neptune in Aries for 14 years. 14 years in your 11th house. What a beautiful place for a Neptune. Neptune being the highest octave of love and the desire of your heart. What a beautiful place to have a Neptune transit. The universe is asking you, what does your heart want, beautiful gem? Let us help you bring it into reality. So on that note, let me pull a card for you. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you're excited about this birthday season. I'm super excited about it, I have to say, because I just feel that the first few months of this year have been quite heavy for a lot of us. We have been retracing our steps with all the retrogrades, Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde. We've been retracing our steps, all in Pisces energy, the sign of endings, completions. We have been letting go of a soul cycle. And now, finally, in May, we begin to see the light. We begin to I'm getting this image now of the tunnel. We've been in a tunnel. We've like moved through, you know, when you're on a road trip and you go through a tunnel and then you come out into the light. You put your shades back on. Gems, let me pull a card for you. Gemini. Your card is the Shield Maiden. Make plans and focus. What a beautiful card for Gemini. Gem, you know that we Gemini people can have challenges in focusing, right? There are so many wonderful things that get our attention. We are good at multitasking, generally speaking, although I did say I burn things. Food, I'm talking about food. I burn water too. The thing is that this beautiful Gemini maiden she is making plans and she is learning to focus. She has the paint on her, which reminds her of her warrior spirit. She has a shield to guard her from people that are not in alignment with, you know, the people that want the naysayers. She has her sword, which is air energy. It's Gemini energy. She is willing to make the cuts, set the boundaries, make it very clear who may not enter her inner circle and who may enter her inner circle. You get the idea. It's time. It's time to move forward. It's time to make your plans. Just keep in mind that your energy can use some spiritual protection, that you can shield your energy, you can surround yourself with light, you can, with your intention, you can set the intention that you are protected, you are guided, you are elevated, that the universe, your higher self, your soul has your back, and that you have everything you need to make your plans and dreams a reality, beautiful Gemini. If anything I share with you resonates, leave me a comment. If you'd like to share, I would love to hear. Taurus. Hello, beautiful Taurus. Taurus, this is going to be a month, I believe, that you receive the gift of emotional freedom. And this is what I'm going to talk with you about in your forecast. Now, when we start the month, We are still in your season. Happy birthday to those of you who are having May birthdays. The month opens up with the sun in your sign. It will be here until May 19th, through May 19th, actually part of the 20th as well. All of the transits I go through them all in the first part of this video, so you'll want to go back and watch that if you haven't already. This is a month that I think is going to feel quite mystical to you. Now, I want to say that Venus, your ruler Venus, is going to make a beautiful conjunction to Neptune in your 12th house. That's at the beginning of the month, and Neptune's going to be in your 12th house for 14 years. What does this mean? I think you're going to have quite a spiritual journey, an awakening journey with Neptune in your 12th house of dreams, nighttime dreams. The 12th house is the other realms. The 12th house is astral travel and, divine downloads and psychic power, intuitive guidance, mediumship. The 12th house is powerful. And how exciting that you are going to have Neptune in your 12th house. So some of you are probably rolling your eyes going, I don't want Neptune there, because yes, Neptune can bring disappointment. Neptune can bring disillusionment. Neptune can be, when it's time for our soul to move on from something in life, Neptune will wash it away. And that's not easy for our human self that doesn't want change. However, back to the present moment, Venus is going to make a conjunction to Neptune, and that may really light something up in your heart. That may really show you what you want going forward, what you want support on. It may take you into your imagination. You may have one of those journeys, those inner journeys that feels very mystical to you. So that would be really beautiful. And another thing I want you to know is that Pluto in Aquarius, which makes a square to your energy, is going retrograde. And you may feel the intensity of that around the May 4th time that happens, the 3rd to the 5th, anywhere around then. And just know that that's going to come and go. Sometimes it feels more intense when it stations. But if you have planets or points in the early degrees of your sign or any of the other fixed signs, including Aquarius, you are probably feeling this Pluto in Aquarius transit quite intensely. And what this is calling you to do, this retrograde, is to take your journey with Pluto inward and do that shadow inner work that we call that. Do that. This is a sort of a prime time to do that, to purge whatever is toxic for you, to become in touch with those fears that are bubbling up from the unconscious about anything new that you want to do, Taurus, anything new that you want to do, anything you want to take on, anything that would be scary to your ego, because the ego doesn't like change. But your heart is calling you forward, like all of our hearts are calling us forward, with Neptune now in Aries. And for you, this might be a spiritual quest, because Neptune can be like a quest. It can be, what is my dream? It can be a real seeking transit. And for you, I would guess that you are seeking spiritual awakening. You are seeking, some of you, self-discovery, some of you really wanting to heal from past lives or some sort of trauma or childhood situations, conditioning, and so forth that could still feel like emotional baggage to you. On May 12th, Taurus, we are going to have a full moon in Scorpio at 22 degrees, a master builder number. It is going to, so taking us into self-mastery, it's going to oppose Uranus in your sign. So that means you're going to be feeling this full moon in Scorpio in your 7th house of partnerships, business or, one-on-one partnerships with people that you love. You could feel this through another person that fits this category of committed relationships. You could feel some sort of Uranus moment that feels like a shock or a jolt, someone saying something or doing something that feels very emotionally upsetting or disruptive to you. What does Uranus do? You already know this, Taurus. You've had Uranus in your sign for so long. Uranus wants to wake us up if we need a wake-up call. It wants to take us out of stagnancy. Overall, big picture, it wants to bring us into a state of emotional liberation and freedom. So this could be a come to Jesus moment for you on May 12th or around May 12th, but it can also be where you finally feel free to follow your own heart in relationship. Follow your own soul for you, whatever is calling to you right now, especially if you've felt held back in relationship. Now, I love this for you. Mercury entering your sign, Taurus, on May 10th. Will be in your sign from May 10th to the 25th, which isn't very long. It's just over 2 weeks, and Mercury is moving very quickly. But Mercury in our own sign is usually feels quite supportive. And then the Sun is going to make a conjunction to Uranus in your sign, which could be a blast of cosmic revelation for you, liberating, awakening, and freeing. So you can see there are multiple transits that I've already been through that could be quite liberating for you. And then on May 20th, the Sun will enter Gemini. When the Sun enters Gemini, there will also be a new moon on the 26th, so about a week later. And that's in your second house. Gemini is your second house. So your second house of money, values, self-esteem, self-worth. And this new moon is saying, it's focusing you on your finances. Do you want to earn more money? Do you want to ask for a promotion? Do you want to change jobs? Do you want to start a side gig? Do you want to start your own business? You get the idea. It's a fresh start in income for you, and it's very empowering because it's trining Pluto, and it's conjunct Mercury, and Mercury is trining Pluto as well. Very lovely. In the way of support, lots of support from this new moon you will be receiving in these areas. And this may be where you say, I have to be true to myself, because again, the second house is not just money, it's also self-worth, deserving, and what I know I need to be happy, values. Saturn will enter Aries and immediately meet up with Neptune in your 12th house. Again, the zone of the mystical world for you, the ethereal realm. So this is a whole era of soul discovery, self-discovery, deepening your connection with the divine, discovering perhaps your psychic and intuitive powers even more. And some of you may become mediums. Some of you may become, have a spiritually based business in which you use. I can't imagine any spiritually based business in which we don't use our intuition, right? Or anything in life that we're always using our intuition. But, you may be putting yourself out there as somebody who does that. All right, so Taurus, let's pull a card for you now. Beautiful Taurus. Your card is the Moon. Take note of intuitive messages. Well, there you go. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you're having multiple energies through your 12th house. Well, Saturn in Aries, Neptune in Aries. What does this mean? I already touched on what it means, but it is very much supportive of your intuition, your intuitive power. So this card is saying, be cognizant of the moon cycles and how they affect you. The new moon, there are so many different cycles that the moon goes through, right? The waning moon, the waxing moon, the full moon. Notice how these moons affect you, and notice how your manifestations come to life and when they do, so that you can begin to work with the magic of the moon more fully, more personally, and that can really enrich your experiences and help you to trust your intuitive powers that much more. Beautiful Taurus, if anything I shared with you resonates, or you want to just comment and say hello, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. Aries, hello, beautiful Aries. Aries, guess what? This is going to be an epic month for you. This really is going to be a month I think that you're going to feel on fire. Now, to start off, Mars, your ruler, is going to leave its post-retrograde shadow in Leo. Mars has been retrograde. It was retrograde for a while in Cancer and in Leo. So in Cancer, it was retrograde in your 4th house of home and family, and then it moved on to Leo. And that's your 5th house of pleasure, fun, creative expression, inner child delight. The 5th house is, to me, like, if I were going to choose the best house, not that we necessarily want to do that, but I love 5th house energy because it's childlike, it's spontaneous, it's fun, it's artsy, it's just all of it's the pleasures of life. So Mars is still in Leo, and Mars will be in Leo all of this month of May, but it's out of shadow. So now it can move forward. Now it's going into new degrees, which means new territory in your own life. And this is your ruler, Aries. So this is wind in your sails. This is a feeling of forward momentum for you. Also, Venus is in your sign, and it's also leaving its post-retrograde shadow, also taking you into new territory, covering new degrees. We are going to have a lovely Venus-Neptune conjunction in your sign, Aries. You see why I'm saying this is going to be an epic month for you. It's happening in your first house. And this is what I see for you here is a new dream that you have coming more alive. You feeling like I'm up to this. I'm ready for this. I'm beginning to identify with this. If you're not, this is a time to begin identifying with it. Venus is earthly love. Venus is all the things that bring us joy and pleasure. Neptune is divine love. Neptune is divine support. Neptune is the psychic guidance that we get. So Neptune has Venus's back. And I see this as your higher self really guiding your human self forward on whatever makes your heart really happy. Plus, this is a very romantic transit. So if you want to ignite romance with someone, or you want to rekindle the romance with someone or the love with someone, this would be a perfect time to do it. All the dates of all these transits are in the first half of this video. On May 12th, we're going to have a Scorpio full moon, and that's going to light up your finances, your assets, your desire for financial freedom, your desire to feel, like you have a long-term sustainable financial foundation. This includes, so the full moon itself in Scorpio is happening in your 8th house of shared resources, emotional and sexual intimacy, loans, taxes and debts, real estate, but it opposes Uranus in your 2nd house of earned income, the income you earn personally, your values, your self-worth. So when we have a full moon, it's always a completion, an ending, a graduation moment, a manifestation. And this one will be interesting because Uranus is going to be transiting your 2nd house, Aries, and with Uranus transiting the 2nd house, that could be a change in your own earned income, or that could be some sort of upset. But if that does happen, it's trying to ultimately free and liberate you, because whatever the thing is that is happening, and sometimes a moment like that, it's like something breaks. Okay, it can be your car breaking down, or I always think of refrigerator because I was having a major Uranus transit when I lived in Mexico, and my refrigerator broke all the time, like multiple times before my landlord finally agreed to replace it. But of course, anything electrical, that's Uranus. Anything electrical can happen. Or we can have, I'm sorry to say, really difficult weather events happen. But Uranus ultimately takes us out of our routine, and that helps us to see something from a different perspective. So ultimately, it is what needed to happen, but it doesn't make it any easier when it is happening. That's a full moon to do the inner work that you've been putting off. If you've been putting off any sort of emotional processing, that's the full moon to do it on, Aries. The sun entering Gemini season, and the new moon in Gemini, and Mercury moving into Gemini. All of this is happening in your 3rd house of moving and shaking, your house of communication, mindset, your inner narrative, websites, freelance work, relationships with aunts, uncles, cousins, or siblings, or neighbors, short trips. This is a beautiful time to take a short trip, a long weekend, or a day trip. It's going to be a very busy time of the month for you, starting on the 20th of May all the way through the end of May. You'll probably feel like there's a lot going on, or maybe you're hunkering down and really focusing on something like a business project, something that involves a contract, perhaps, something that involves one of those relationships that I just mentioned, or, networking. It's a really good transit for getting in touch with people, networking, meeting up with people locally, and so on. It's a transit. Gemini season for you is powering up. Aries, you're fire. Gemini is air. The fire of air, of your fire, it energizes you to have these wonderful conversations, to meet like-minded people, or to hang out with people that that you feel like really get you. And then, the same is true. The air of Gemini really lights you up as well. Now, Aries, a new era is beginning for you in your first house of identity, the roles you play, the titles that you have in business, in your family, at work. What does this mean? Saturn entering your sign, meeting up with Neptune. Neptune is your dream. It's your vision. It's your calling, what you're moving toward. Saturn is saying, let's make it real. Now that's the highest octave. Let's make it real. Let me help you. Let's create a foundation. Let's do the work, the hard work. Let's hunker down. Let's get disciplined. Let's make this happen. That's the high octave. The lower octave is Saturn saying, I'm delaying this. You're not ready. There are all these hoops you have to jump through that you didn't know about before. Like that can happen too. I have to say, either one can happen. But if your heart is determined, is inspired, if you're lit up, Saturn here is often, it can feel like a killjoy. It can feel like, oh my gosh, I really just wanted to go do this fun thing this weekend and now I have to work all weekend. It can feel like that. It's do the work now, put in the time, and you will reap the rewards over time. Saturn, maturing us, as we say. Delaying gratification, all those things. So let me pull a card for you now, beautiful Aries. Aries. Your card is the Air Guardian, Gemini. Shift your perception. Oh my gosh, this is one of the most beautiful cards in the deck. She is being blown by the fresh breeze of the wind. That is Gemini energy for you. I think you're really, because if I didn't say it already, you're getting a sextile from all the Gemini energy that's going to be happening starting May 20th. And Aries, that's really, really buoying for you. It will buoy you. It will boost you. It will lift you up. But air is also our thinking, right? And the other thing I want to say, I'm moving around here a little bit. I hope you can follow me. I also want to say, because there's a sense of royalty here. There's a sense of her spiritual royalty. Valuing what's different about you. Valuing your, when I look at her headdress and everything, I think she's exotic. She is from another realm. She has these emerald jewels. She is very magnetically attractive. I feel when I tune into this card, I feel the wind, the mystical winds blowing through you. And I feel that it's important to pause, which isn't easy for Aries to do sometimes. Pause and count. How do I say this? Not count. Notice what is special about you. Notice what is different about you. Notice what is, I know these words are all the same. They're all synonyms, but what is unique, truly unique about you? And maybe ask other people in your life if you can't come up with what is. Ask other people, because I feel that this, and maybe this shift your perception is shift your perception about yourself. Maybe you're holding a grudge against yourself. Maybe you're judging yourself. Maybe you aren't seeing yourself through the lens of the divine. Like we can see her through the lens of the divine, right? Do that and you will feel an elevation of your dream. You will feel more confident, more courageous, more ready to take on this new dream in this new era of you, beautiful Aries. It is a big, big deal to have Neptune go through your first house for 14 years and Saturn going through your first house, meeting up with Neptune as well now, and then exactly next year, February 20th of 2026. It is a new era for you, Aries, and that is a lot to celebrate. So if anything I shared resonates and you want to share with me, I would love to, or all of us, you will inspire all of us, Aries, you inspire. Let us know in the comments below. Pisces, hello, beautiful Pisces. Pisces, I think this month you are going to feel some release. I think you're going to feel some lightening of the energy. Let's step back for a quick moment here. You have just been through many months of releasing, maybe longer, maybe years, some of you, releasing, surrendering, having to let go, loss perhaps, a rigorous skin shedding, washing away. There's been a washing away of a former self. Now, everybody has felt this, but Pisces, all of those, the many planets that we've had in your sign, Venus, Mercury, both retrograding, Neptune for many, many years, like 15 years since 2011, Saturn transits in your own sign are not easy, and the North Node in your sign, letting you know when something has to shift or change. All of those, that conference of planets in Pisces, those are finally shifting out of your sign. Now, the North Node is still there, and it will be there until July of next year. But this is, I feel that former self, that former life, perhaps a cycle of grief for you, a cycle of death for you. You are moving into the time of rebirth now. Neptune has left your sign. Yes, it will retrograde back for a short time, but it has left your sign for a while now. And I mean, since the end of March, and it will not retrograde back. I think it's till October. All the dates are in the first part of this video. And Saturn is leaving your sign. Same thing. A few months it will retrograde back, but you know, there's a big shift of energy for you with these leaving your energy, Pisces. That in itself is something to celebrate. I think you may feel some relief this month, especially when we get toward the end of the month, when Saturn moves into Aries. Now, Venus is going to make a conjunction to Neptune, which is your modern ruler, in your second house of money, values, self-esteem, self-love. Venus conjuncting Neptune is an activation of Neptune in your second house saying, what's your dream now for making money, for feeling good about yourself, for your material security, second house? What is your dream? What is your vision? Is it aligned with your values, Venus? Is it aligned with what you love? So this is a really, I'm going to use the word yummy. Some of you don't like that. I've been criticized for saying yummy, delicious, all those things. It's okay. Pisces, you will get this. There is a feeling of deliciousness when it comes to Venus, and Neptune is supporting her during this transit. Not only this, but Mercury in Taurus is happening. Mercury will leave Aries and move into Taurus. And this is also very nice for your energy. It's a sextile. And this your mind may really appreciate the grounding of Mercury in Taurus. It will be from May 10th to the 24th in your third house. It's a busy place to have a Mercury transit, so you may feel quite busy during that period of the month. But the third house supports socializing. It supports anything to do with business, website work. It supports freelance work. It supports transactions, buying and selling, devices, short trips, new cars, all those things. Before Mercury goes retrograde again, if you want a new car, this could be a good time. And it's supportive of you growing and learning and putting any message into writing that you have, whether it's through a blog or a video or teaching a course. The full moon in Scorpio, Pisces trines your energy. So you can see there's a lot of supportive energy for you this month. The full moon in Scorpio will trine your energy. It's happening in your ninth house of expansion. This is very supportive of any long distance travel. It is maybe planning a trip, maybe taking a trip. It's very supportive of your spiritual expansion. It's also wonderful for any new adventure, feeling like your horizons are expanding, and for teaching, publishing, or speaking. So I feel that this full moon in Scorpio will be quite energizing for you. It is going to oppose Uranus, and Uranus and Taurus, that will be in your third house of moving and shaking, your third house of daily transactions, daily networking, daily, all the things you do on a daily basis. That's where this could be in your neighborhood, could be with a neighbor, it could be with a sibling, it could be with an aunt, uncle, cousin, where it comes through that person, something that you weren't expecting, but ultimately it's meant to free and liberate you and stimulate you and open you up to other possibilities if that's what you need right now. And this could be a new opportunity, and some of you might decide to start your own business. Saturn will conjunct this epic May transit and epic transit for the whole, not just this year, this is an epic transit for our collective, for all of us, then it's a new era. Saturn coming together with Neptune, when two outer planets come together, and we may not feel this until the exact conjunction in February of 2026, but when two outer planets come together, there is often a collective something that happens. So for you personally, though, this is going to happen, this conjunction in your second house. It wants to help ignite a dream for you. It wants to help put legs to a dream, to make something real for you. Second house is money. Second house is aligning your life with your values, saying yes to your heart's calling. It could be some sort of new venture for you, a new job, a new business. It could be something that's going to help you feel more materially secure. And it can be a boost in your sense of self-worth or deserving as well. Finally, beautiful Pisces, Gemini season is starting May 20th. There will be a new moon in Gemini in your fourth house of home and family. It's a powerful new moon. It's a great new moon to feel like you are speaking your truth if you need to. It makes a trine to Pluto, so it's saying have your own back. Could be very passionate for you. You could have a passionate meeting or encounter, having to do with home or family for sure during this new moon. But it's a new moon that's asking you, are you happy and fulfilled with your home or family situation? Do you have a motivation to move? Do you want to do ancestral healing? Is there anything from childhood or past lives that's weighing on you that you want to clear from yourself emotionally? All of that is very supported by this new moon in Gemini. The Gemini energy does make a square to your energy. You are both dual signs. You both have a foot in the ethereal realms and one foot in this earthly realm. So there is a commonality between Gemini and Pisces energy. You're both mutable. You're both changeable and flexible. But with the square, what does it mean? Squares do put us into action. They do motivate us to take action on something, to make a change in the direction of what our heart most wants. Beautiful Pisces, let me now pull a card for you and see what the cards have to say. Pisces, your card is the Knight. Be brave and honest. There's a devoutness to this Knight, Pisces. I think of your energy as devout, a connection, not just a connection, but a devotion to the divine. He is clearly in silence. He's clearly connecting with his higher self. And this is saying you can summon any courage or bravery that you need to summon to move forward on your path. It could be that as we enter Gemini season, something feels harder than it would feel if you were getting trines or sextiles from the Gemini energy. And maybe that square means you have to set a boundary with someone. You have to say no to someone. Maybe you're deciding to move. Maybe you're deciding to give your notice somewhere. You're deciding to change your career. Any of those things. Be honest with yourself. Be fiercely honest with yourself first and foremost. Be honest with others. You can do it, Pisces. The universe has your back. Your higher self is guiding you. You've got this. And Pisces, if you want to claim your own courage and bravery for moving forward, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Aquarius, Aquarius. Beautiful Aquarius, your month of May will be quite stimulating, I believe. I think you are absolutely going to love the fresh air of Gemini season, of the Gemini new moon, of Mercury in Gemini. It all trines your energy, your air, Gemini air. It's really, really lovely for you. But that doesn't start until May 20th. Before that, what do we have for you? We have the first part of the month. Mars is going to be in Leo. It does oppose your energy, but the good news is Mars has finished its opposition to Pluto at the beginning of the month. They are 3 degrees apart as we open this month, and I think that's going to feel like a relief to you. Not only this, Aquarius, Mars is going to leave its post-retrograde shadow and begin to travel over new degrees, which is new territory for all of us. And because Mars in Leo is opposite you, this is something to celebrate as well. Now, an opposition of Mars when it's not in retrograde motion, when it's not in shadow, An opposition from Mars to your energy doesn't have to be a difficult thing. It can be a lot of communication back and forth with other people. It can be that your life is just more active socially. It could be quite stimulating for you, actually. Venus is going to make a conjunction to Neptune, and I think this is going to be a lovely boost for your social life. First of all, Venus in Aries conjuncting Neptune in Aries, that's fire energy, that's a sextile that is harmonious to you, that's new opportunities and solutions. That sextiles help us to bring something tangible into our earthly life. It's happening for you in your third house of mindset and communication, the house of moving and shaking, the house of deals that we make, the leases that we sign, mortgages that we take on, things like that. It's our daily, everyday communication with other people, emailing, and there are a lot of things that can happen in the third house. Relationships with siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins. The third house is also website work that we do, blog writing, short trips, devices, vehicles, transactions, buying and selling. It's a very busy, active place. And this is where Neptune is going to be for you for the next 14 years. So some of you could be thinking about, what's my ideal location? Because the third house is our local environment. Where do I ideally want to be? Where do I want to spend my time? If you have an office, where do I want to have my office? If the things that you do that are part of your community engagement, you could very much be asking, Aquarius, where do I want to have these things? With whom do I want to do these the things in life that feed me? Like for me, yoga really feeds me. So going to a studio that feels supportive to me, where I love the teachers, all of that, very, very important. It's different for all of us what that is. But this is a long-term transit. And with Venus coming together with Neptune, in your third house of your local environment, you could have quite a romance with someone. You could meet somebody. You could sometimes these transits are just lovely moments with a neighbor. They're lovely moments with somebody at the grocery store. We hope for more, but think of it this way too. It's activating something in you. It may, when you look back on it a week later, say, oh, that was just a lovely date or a lovely conversation. But it's activating something in you energetically. And it could be a transmission from the divine that is setting you up for continued high frequency kinds of interaction situations, events with other people. Aquarius, on May 4th, Pluto is going to retrograde. Pluto, of course, is in your sign. It's going to go into retrograde motion. You may feel that more intensely. I talk about what that means for everyone in the first part of this video. But just to know, you may feel it more intensely, especially if you have planets or points around that 3-degree point where it's retrograding. The full moon in Scorpio for you, which is happening on May 12th, is going to be highlighting your career and your home and family, balancing the two. And if you don't have a career, maybe that's what you do on a daily basis. That's how you like to spend your time. Some of you are retired, I know. Some of you have very non-traditional ways of doing your life that you wouldn't call career. How you spend your time, what brings you meaning, what brings you passion, how you spend your time. And is it in alignment with what you want to be doing? The full moon is happening for you in your 10th house of career, legacy, retirement, semi-retirement, life purpose expressed. For some of you, it will bring up, do I feel fulfilled right now in how I use my time? It's also opposing Uranus in your 4th house of home and family. What does this mean? Uranus could have somebody, a family member or someone in your home or around your home, a neighbor even, say or do something that feels discombobulating to you in some way. Or you could have something break down. I have to say, in your home, that could happen. An appliance could break. You could be having an important call on Zoom and something happens with your computer. Hopefully none of that will happen. These are just examples. But sometimes the universe has to, I'm not saying the universe isn't intentionally going to say, I'm going to break this person's computer today. Sometimes the energy is such that something in our life breaks down and that leads us to a breakthrough and a breaking free. And that is what Uranus big time wants to do for us, is help us to break free from anything that is stagnant, any way of thinking, any perception, any pattern that we have that is in some way keeping us on a path that isn't in full alignment with our soul. Now, it could be that something happens that makes you realize you really want to move, or you've been wanting to move and maybe you get a new opportunity or something comes through that allows you to create a new home environment. That could be quite lovely for you. The sun is also going to make a conjunction to Uranus. That's going to make a square to your energy, and that will give you motivation to take some sort of action. I think, Aquarius, that with the Scorpio full moon and the sun conjunct Uranus, I think that you are going to be ready to create some sort of change in your life that you've been wanting to create. So in that way, it's very supportive. The energy will considerably lighten for you. As I mentioned at the beginning of your reading, it will considerably lighten for you at the beginning of Gemini season, which is May 20th. Mercury will also move into Gemini, and then we'll have a new moon in Gemini on the 26th or the 27th, depending on your time zone, in your 5th house, the beautiful 5th house of fun, love, romance, pleasure, children, creative expression, your artistry. If you create art, anything that you do that lights you up, that makes your inner child happy, just having fun for the sake of fun. Who doesn't need that? That is going to be Gemini season for you. Really calling you to take care of the inner child within you and make sure that you enjoy yourself, especially if you have not had enough fun, play, and enjoyment, Aquarius. And finally, Saturn and Neptune coming together in Aries. It's going to happen in your 3rd house. And I think I already mentioned this, but if not, I'll mention it again. That's where Venus and Neptune are coming together. That's what I already mentioned. Saturn and Neptune. Saturn is saying, let me help you make a dream real. For some of you, this is a dream to have your own business and have your own, that includes a website. Websites fall into the 3rd house. That some of you want to write. Some of you want to write a book, or you do want to have a blog, or you do want to have some way of putting your message out into the world. You really want to share with people your passion. You do have something that's important to you to share with others. That is the 3rd house. Others of you, could feel that Saturn coming together with Neptune is saying, well, this is the work involved, or do you know you have to let go of this to have that? Sometimes it does show up as a loss because Neptune wants to move us forward in life, and something could have been dragging on for too long that isn't serving you. So it will be different for everyone, but this could be a call to change your inner narrative, to change the story about who you are, to change the story about your life. And some of you will decide to move to a new neighborhood. So let us see what the cards have to say for you, beautiful Aquarius. For your month of May, Aquarius. Your card is Mountains. Stand your ground. Well, I am not surprised with a full moon in Scorpio, which squares your energy, and the sun conjunct Uranus this month, which squares your energy. I'm not surprised that you get this card. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Also, Pluto retrograding in your sign. It does get to be a bit more intense around the time that it stations. And Pluto always points us to boundaries if we need to set a boundary. So this is very simple. Be the mountain, Aquarius. Be the mountain. You are co-ruled by Saturn. You know how to be the mountain. I'm not saying to detach from your emotions. Be present for your emotions. Be present for your sweetheart, but also stand your ground in situations that you know in your heart of hearts are calling for that. And if you want to claim that you are the mountain, let us know in the comments below, Aquarius. I would love to hear. Capricorn. Hello, beautiful Capricorn. Capricorn. You are going to have Saturn, your ruler, changing signs. This is a big deal when the ruler of our chart changes signs. This is Capricorn risings. What does it mean? You are beginning a brand new cycle, 2.5-year cycle that is happening in the sign of Aries. And you feel this even more when your ruler is connecting with Neptune in that sign, and it is a fellow cardinal sign. So Aries energy makes a square to your energy, and that means you will be fired up to go after something. Squares are often the thing that gets us moving, the thing that gets us going. We think of squares as difficult, as challenging. I don't want that. I want a triangle or a sextile. But the truth is, if we go back and trace some of the things that happened in our life, we will realize that we accomplished things. And Capricorn, you are no stranger to accomplishment. You are an ambitious sign. You love climbing a new mountain. You love going after something that can feel hard and difficult for you. It's part of your energy signature. So I don't want you to feel deterred or discouraged by the fact that this is squaring your energy. I know I have some energy in Capricorn myself that will get squared by Neptune. It will get squared by Saturn. But this is why I'm reminding you, reminding myself, reminding all of us that squares can be the thing that helps us bring our dream into reality. It's not just Saturn moving into Aries. Neptune's already in Aries. They're coming together in May. Where is this dream happening for you? It's happening in your 4th house of home, family, childhood conditioning. Do you have a new dream that has to do with a family member, that has to do with your home life, that has to do with some of you would be moving, maybe you're remodeling, maybe you want to build a new house, maybe you want to expand your family, maybe you want to change your family in some way or change your home life. Maybe for some of you, a family member is moving out. You could have a child going to college. You could have somebody who's spreading their wings. You could have a roommate leaving. But with Neptune in the 4th house, we're usually looking for that ideal home environment. We're wanting to create that. Even if we love our home, we want to keep our home, there's something that, it could also take you back to your roots, to your sort of ideal sense of what you wish your family was like. And maybe you do some inner child healing or healing conditioning. That could be some of you, because Neptune does take us into the very deep place. It's a very mystical planet. And sometimes we wash away an old self with a Neptune transit. So Saturn here, though, in its most, let's say, in the expression that makes our human self happiest, Saturn with Neptune is a new dream, helping you to put legs to a new dream, helping you to bring form, structure to something that your heart really wants. In this realm of home, family, roots, feeling safe and secure in your life. Because the 10th house is across from the 4th house, when Neptune and or Saturn activate any 10th house planets, you could feel this in career, including a desire to, make your career more meaningful or feel more like the ideal or the vision that you have. So Venus will make a conjunction to Neptune at the beginning of the month, and that will happen in your 4th house of home and family. Like I already said, it makes a square to your energy, which is invigorating, motivating, and increases your drive and gets you into action. Mercury is going to move into Taurus. I mentioned that for you. A lot of transits going on. I don't go through all of them for each of the signs, obviously, because there are so many, and I do all that in part 1 of this video. But I mentioned Mercury going to Taurus for you because it makes a trine to your energy, and that's really lovely. I think you're going to feel that the ideas are flowing, that you're grounding something in, that something feels like you could get communications, ideas, insights that lead to tangible, positive, forward momentum for you. This is happening in your 5th house of creativity. You could get that in this realm of creativity, creative projects. You could feel this with relationships with children or in any relationships in which you feel a sweetness, a love, or a romance. On May 12th, the full moon in Scorpio, opposite Uranus, is happening in your 11th house. It harmonizes with you, especially because Uranus and Taurus is Earth and you're Earth, and so it makes a trine to your energy, and the trines are the wind at our back. The full moon in Scorpio is water, and you're Earth, and it's in your 11th house of fulfillment, your 11th house of hopes, wishes, and dreams, and long-term financial gains. It's the house of what does my heart want now, really, the 11th house. Also where you find simpatico support, allies, friendships, communities, tribe. So a full moon here could mean that you are, and because it makes a sextile to your energy. This can bring an opportunity or a solution or a win or a blessing in any of the areas I just mentioned, to bring in, to increase your sense of fulfillment, something wonderful with a friend, perhaps. But something could happen with a child or someone close to you that is like a child to you. Something could happen with a lover. Something could happen in a creative project. Uranus transiting your 5th house that feels temporarily discombobulating until it passes through, and then you find a solution, and then you feel more free. We always see these things in hindsight, right? We always see them in hindsight. Capricorn, if you've been watching my channel for a long time or videos for a long time, you probably have heard this story. But I'll just tell a real brief nutshell version of it. And that is that one of the best decisions I ever made was preceded by a major car breakdown, major head gasket blown. And it was such a last straw. And that's often a Uranus moment, is like a last straw. I can't believe this happened. And it made me say yes to myself like nothing else would. Sometimes we need something really difficult to happen for us to realize we've been depriving ourselves. And now I realize why I'm telling you the story, because Capricorn, you do have a tendency to put your needs last. You do have a tendency to give everybody else the good stuff and sort of save the crumbs for yourself. I know that's not all of you. A lot of you only buy the finest things. You love good quality. You splurge on yourself, all of that. But a lot of Capricorns can be self-depriving. And that's certainly something that's been part of my past, for sure. Why I had that experience. You know, the car breaks down. Okay, I'm going to go do this training, this creative training that I've always wanted to do. You get the idea, Capricorn. All right, so that is the full moon in Scorpio. Did I mention that? Yes, we went through that. Now, Gemini season, May 20th. Basically, the Gemini, it's the sun in Gemini and the new moon in Gemini. It's all happening for you in your 6th house of work, daily work, habits, health, optimal wellness. Mercury will be there as well. So this is a lot of energy empowering you for what do I want my daily life to look like. Of course, new moons are when we set intentions for what we want. It's a new manifestational cycle. And this will be very empowering for you around anything that has to do with your health or with your work situation, the environment in which you work, the people that you work with, bosses, supervisors, anything that, you know, in our daily life, we want to have like it's schedules and routines. We want to have a nice rhythm that we feel is supportive of who we are. So that's what will be up for you from May 20th until the end of the month. Okay, Capricorn, let me now pull a card for you. We'll see what the cards have to say. Your card is, the Magic Guardian. Unlock the magic within. So cool. Well, this card reminds me of Gemini energy that we're moving into as of May 20th, because there is a magic, a desire to experience the magic of life in Gemini energy. Signs and synchronicities, and knowing that the veil is thin between the worlds, knowing that our intentions are creating our reality, knowing that we can call on the divine for help and support. And so clearly this card is saying the Magic Guardian is here for you. And are you ready to unlock the magic within? Capricorn, has life been a bit dry and deserty for you? Have you felt like you've been maybe focusing on mundane things? Maybe you've had to. A lot of us have had to. A lot of us have been putting out fires, so to speak. We've been going from one, we've been very focused on getting things done in a very physical way, or we've been doing a lot of emotional clearing and purging, some of us with so much energy in Pisces. But my point is, if you felt like life has been lackluster, now is the time to invoke your own magical heart and begin to notice and see, as a reminder of the sweetness of the electricity, even is what's coming to me. The electricity, and we're getting a lot of Uranus activity this month. The electricity and the magic and the cosmic divine blessings that can come through for you. So if you want to claim your magic, your blessings, anything that is coming to you, beautiful Capricorn, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Sagittarius, Sagittarius, beautiful Sagittarius, Beautiful Sag. The big news in May for you is great news. Saturn is leaving Pisces. Why do I say it's great news for you? Because Pisces has squared your energy, and also Neptune in Pisces has squared your energy. So many energies we have had in Pisces, the retrogrades and so on, Venus and Mercury, partly in Pisces, all of that energy has squared you. And while squares bring us the motivation, the drive to get things done, they can also be quite heavy, especially Pisces energy. Pisces energy has been helping us to shed an old skin, to wash away an old era, an old life, an old karma, a lot of us karma. So Sag. Now Saturn moves into Aries, and that trines your energy. That is Aries energy, Aries fire to your fire, and Sag, this is lovely, lovely for you. Now, when Saturn was in Pisces, it was in your 4th house of home and family. So you could have felt things come up around home and family for the last 2.5 years that felt difficult, or some sort of a loss, or some sort of closing out. And for our human selves, closures, endings are not easy. Now, Saturn is moving into your 5th house in Aries of fun, pleasure, romance, delight, inner child, pleasurable, fun things, things that light you up, your creative expression. So this is a beautiful fresh air for you. And Saturn moving into Aries, making a conjunction to Neptune, because of course Neptune is now also in your 5th house, and this is a new dream. What is your new dream in any of these 5th house matters? Because of this, and Neptune will be here for a whole 14 years. Because of this, Neptune and Saturn coming together, the highest octave of this highest expression is making a dream real. A dream. Some of you may be around having children. Others of you, it may be around love and romance. Others of you, it may be around you creating, expressing something that your heart wants to bring out and make real. The full moon in Scorpio happening on May 12th will very likely bring you epiphanies or a spiritual awakening or something, a message in a dream that is quite mystical and moving to you. Why? Because it's happening in your 12th house. It will oppose Uranus in your 6th house of daily work, your work environment, your schedules, your habits, your health. So anything in the work arena could bring you a Uranus moment. Uranus moment is something unexpected. It can be disruptive. It can be shocking. It can be difficult to emotionally to handle in the moment. But the thing that's good to remember about Uranus moments is we solve whatever's going on. Something breaks often, something, we forget to, I don't know. I don't even want to put out there the things that could happen. I did mention some of them earlier in the video, but often it is something breaking down, but then that brings us to a breakthrough, which we needed to have. And so for some of you, I think that would be work related, but for others of you, it could be something going on in your health on any level, mental, physical, emotional. And just remember, Uranus wants to free and liberate us. So Sag, I think that this being a full moon in your 12th house, I do think that something is going to come to your attention in a way that helps you to shed maybe some past conditioning. It's going to really help you in the long run, or even in the short term, to do some sort of emotional clearing. Venus is going to leave her post-retrograde shadow in the 5th house, so Venus will be moving forward onto new territory for you, and that's really lovely because Venus is everything that we love and care about. On May 20th, and Venus will also make a conjunction to Neptune at the very beginning of this month, and that will be a lovely conjunction for you in your 5th house. So the only thing that I have to say about this is that often in the 5th house is when we can have these sort of casual dates or these moments where we fall madly in love with someone just when all they do is smile at us, and then like we're smitten. That's a Venus-Neptune thing too. So just keep in mind, if you do fall hard for somebody really quickly, I encourage you to take it slow if you're highly sensitive, as most of us are, and you don't want to feel that extreme letdown if it turns out that, I'm not saying it would, but if it turned out that it was mostly projection, which we can do with Venus, Neptune. Going slow can be really helpful. But beautiful Sag, you love to have all of the excitement and thrills of the new. So, you know, we all respond to these things differently. You know yourself. You know what's best for you. On May 20th, the sun will enter Gemini in your opposite sign. Usually when we have a season, and for you it's Gemini season, opposite our sign, that means that there's a lot more communication going on with other people because Gemini is the house of the other for you, your 7th house. Now, we're going to have a gorgeous new moon here, so beautiful for setting intentions for however you want your relationships to feel and experience and so on, or your relationship with the divine. This could be business partners as well as romantic partners. Anyone who has your back, you have their back. It's a beautiful, passionate new moon that makes a trine to Pluto retrograde, which tells us that any inner work that we can do on any fears or anger releasing, any of that would be really helpful around this time, but it's quite an empowering full new moon. Did I say full moon? New moon. Very empowering new moon in Gemini. Also, Mercury will be in Gemini, so you're going to get a lot of activity in your 7th house of partnerships during this month, and sometimes people at work show up as 7th house partners. It's whoever we're spending the most time with often shows up during a 7th house transit. On May 29th, we're going to have a Mercury Cazimi in the 7th house for you. New life, new spark to whatever your heart wants. You may get new understanding, new clarity. And this could be about clarity about a relationship. It could be clarity about how you've done your relationships, patterns, dynamics, and all of that stuff. Or it could be a wonderful conversation that brings healing to you and or the other person. So beautiful Sag, let me pull a card for you now and let's see what the cards have to say. And I do believe from my own experience that it is a myth that, you know, opposition, transits that are opposite us are always difficult. A lot of times they're joyful. They don't have to be difficult. It really depends on a lot of different things about our chart, what's going on with the other transits and so forth. So I know that when I have, of course, I'm a Gemini sun, so across from where my Gemini energy is, I have Sagittarius energy. And when I'm having Sag transits, for me, they're quite invigorating and enlivening. And I do get more communication from other people, significant people in my life. So personally, I love Sag energy, and, you know, all relationships can have their challenges, right, Sag? Okay, so let's see what the cards have to say for you. Sag. Your card is, ooh, I love this card. This is a heart card. This is heart chakra. The warrior. Be fearless and stand strong. Why do I love this card? All the green, the emerald green earrings. This is Aries energy, the warrior. You may have to set boundaries this month, but it's very simple. It's saying, be fearless and stand strong. If you have a question right now, Sag, about whether you should stand your ground with something, whether, you know, just sometimes we have questions. It's not about right and wrong. It's about what's right for you. And this is saying, yes, it's important to stand your ground. Yes, have your own back. Yes, take care of you. Beautiful Sag. If you want to claim your bravery, standing strong, whatever you want to claim, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Scorpio. Hello, beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio. This is going to be a month for you of epiphanies and revelations. Mars in Leo, your co-ruler. Mars is one of your co-rulers. Mars and Pluto rule your sign. Mars in Leo is leaving its post-retrograde shadow. It's moving into new territory. This is really good news for anyone that is, you know, feeling this energy, has been feeling this energy during the retrograde. Now, where is it happening for you? It's happening in your 10th house of career. I know not all of you have careers. This is life purpose expressed. This is anything that you do that brings you meaning or fulfillment. This is a new business or a business that you already have. This is semi-retirement or retirement. legacy. This Mars in Leo here transiting your 10th house has really had you most likely reflect on your career and what you want and any changes that you want to make. Now you could feel like it's time. The timing is right. Yes, it is. Why? We're done retracing our steps. We're done going over old territory. Now we're in new territory. This is really good news. Also, Pluto, your other co-ruler, turns retrograde. And when it does turn retrograde, well, all the time that Pluto's in Aquarius, actually, if you have planets or points in the early degrees, let's say 0 to maybe 4 degrees, you would be feeling Pluto right now. And it is squaring your energy. When I say planets or points 0 to 4, I mean in your energy, Scorpio. It's squaring your energy. So all this means, the retrograde, is that it's going to retrograde from 3 degrees back to 1 degree in something minutes, 22 minutes, I think. And this is a good time to do the inner work. That's what it means. This is a good time to process your fears. It's a good time to release anger. It's a good time to release anything from your life that's toxic, to set the boundaries. This brings up power and control issues, either yours or the other person's or other people's. And someone has to let go of the rope, right, Scorpio? This is, Pluto always asks us to be fiercely honest with ourselves, and to the extent that we feel safe with another, to also be fiercely honest with them. Sometimes sometimes expressing our vulnerability in ways we haven't done so before can bring us closer to the other person. The full moon in your sign, Scorpio, this is what I'm talking about. What I just said applies to this full moon as well. This is a come to Jesus moment for some of you. This is a deep, perhaps for some of you, coming into awareness of any of your shadow qualities or another person's shadow qualities, and doing the acceptance, the healing, the processing of the emotions around any of that. Because it's in your first house, the full moon, that's a completion, that's a revelation, that's an ending or a manifestation around your identity. Maybe you're shifting an identity, and this could be an identity, who you are, the roles, the titles, what you call yourself, in your work, in your relationships, it's our status, what we call ourselves. Sometimes that's married or single. Sometimes that's, I'm a business owner, I'm an employee. Sometimes that's, you get the idea. Sister, brother, aunt, uncle, cousin, all those things. But this is going to be a significant full moon for you if you have any planets or points around 22 degrees of your sign, because that's where it's happening at 22 degrees. And it opposes Uranus. And so Uranus is saying, Uranus will likely show you something that you didn't see before, because when Uranus opposes our energy, it usually comes through another person. And it could feel like a shock. It could. I have to say that it could. But big picture, it wants to free you emotionally. It wants to get you unstuck in any situation, relationship, dynamic, etc., that in which you have felt stuck. Mercury will move into Taurus on May 10th, and it will only be there until the 25th, 15 days, which is a very short Mercury transit. But it is going to encourage more communication with loved ones and partners for you. And on May 20th, the sun will move into Gemini, the new moon will be in Gemini, Mercury will move into Gemini, and this for you is all happening in your 8th house of power and control. It's also the house of our assets, loans, taxes, debts, mortgages. It's the house of real estate. It is the house of, it's a new moon, so it's setting intentions for this. It's shared resources. It's emotional and sexual intimacy. It's the house of our emotional attachments, the things that we want that make us feel stable, solid, and secure. It's a transformational house, the house of death and rebirth. Lots of energy here for you, May 20th to the end of the month, saying time to get fiercely honest with self, with partners. Mercury in Gemini here is going to help you to have any tough conversations with people that are close to you. And likely your focus will be on finances or assets around that time. And it's a chance to retain, not just a chance, it's an invitation, a very strong, could even feel like a push to reclaim your power. and to potentially deepen your intimacy with another person. Let us see. Could be a breakthrough in a relationship. Let us see what the cards have to say for you. Beautiful Scorpio. Scorpio. Summer, bask in joy and light. What a beautiful card. Oh my gosh. In the tarot, the summer card is like the best card. I feel I love this, or the sun card, I should say, the sun card. And this is like the sun card. This is saying you are headed for a feeling of summer. Now, of course, summer traditionally starts in June, right? And this is May, but there's something about this card is saying it's time to just bring more joy into your life. It's time to celebrate the fact that you are here, you are alive, you are safe. You are safe. You wouldn't be watching this video most likely if you felt unsafe. Now, I know I open a can of worms by saying that. If you feel unsafe, please get the support that you need. Please do. But this card is saying there's a new fertility. This is a mandala here. And there are all of these gold, copper, beautifully etched. Okay, I see now. This is a honeycomb. I didn't see this before. This is a honeycomb. This is fertility. This is richness. This is making honey. You could take this card, you could take the message of this card as wealth, as the bees to honey. You could take this card as everything you need. Prosperity, abundance, the deliciousness of life, everything you need is yours. Just claim it and spend more time in joy and light than you have been, Scorpio, if that's needed. If you want to claim that summer is coming out in your heart, summer is coming out in your life, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Libra. Hello, beautiful Libra. Libra. This month shines light and begins a new era for you in committed partnership. Why do I say this? Because your house of committed partnership is Aries energy, and we have a lot going on in Aries energy. Neptune has already moved into your 7th house. What does that mean? It means you are beginning a whole new era, 14-year era of your hopes, wishes, and dreams, your vision of partnership, or your partnership with your higher self, with the divine, is happening now. It's already begun as of March 30th. Now Venus is going to activate Neptune. Then Saturn will move into Aries this month at the end of the month and activate Neptune. So this area of your chart is starting to get very lit up for you. And towards the beginning of the month, all the dates are in the first part of this video when I go through every transit. Venus will make a conjunction to Neptune. That is so lovely for your partnership, Libra. So lovely. Or for anyone in your life that you spend time with, that you care about. This is a great day around this time to spend time with friends and family, to do the things you love, to be creative, to engage with anyone that you feel has your back, you have their back, there's a trust there. It could also deepen your love with another person, deepen your connection to your higher self. We're going to have a Scorpio full moon in your 2nd house on May 12th. This is your house of money, material security. It's going to oppose Uranus in your 8th house of shared finances, assets, long-term like retirement funds, loans and taxes, and real estate, and the assets that we look to for our long-term security. That's the 8th house, also emotional and sexual intimacy, the house of emotional attachments, I call it. So a full moon on your financial axis, basically, and also on your axis of intimacy and material security, that's a potent full moon, Libra. And so some of you are looking at your assets during this full moon. Full moons are fruitions, they're culminations, they're endings, they're graduation moments. Sometimes we're coming full circle with something. Expect the unexpected with this full moon. Expect that you may get revelations or insights around shared resources or around intimacy, or that someone in your life, Uranus in the 8th house, something could happen that you weren't expecting. Before this full moon happens on May 12th, you might want to do some sort of review of your finances and see if you want to make any changes in investments if you have them, Or you might want to make some sort of change to your earned income. If you have an income that comes in on a regular basis, most of us do. If you want to change that in some way, which means for some of us that we get another job or we get a promotion or we apply for something else, we find another way to bring in money. Or this could have to do with your own valuing of yourself, self-love, deserving, realizing that you deserve more, realizing that what you've been earning or what you've been, how you've been dividing resources with a partner, that something's off or unfair about it and you need to rectify it. That could be something that plays out during this full moon as well. Now, Libra, starting May 20th till the end of the month, there's going to be a breath of fresh air for you, a new wind blowing in, new breeze blowing into your home. Why do I say this? Because Gemini season is happening. We're getting a new moon in Gemini. We're going to have a Mercury cazimi in Gemini. All of this is happening between the 20th and the 29th of the month. And for you, that's air to your air. Gemini trines your energy. Trines are the easiest aspect. They're the most flowing aspect. Things just happen in the way that we need or want them to. And it's happening for you, all the Gemini energy, in your 9th house of expansion. Have you noticed, Libra, that Gemini people expand you in any way? A lot of times when we have a certain sign in a house, in our chart, in the 9th house in particular, for example, for you, anyone that has that energy in their chart very strongly can be an expander for us. So for you too, this is long distance travel, your spiritual beliefs, or any of your beliefs, your belief system, and it is higher learning, publishing, speaking, teaching. Any of these things could be something you want to set intentions around, plant seeds for, intend to begin to co-create this. Some of you may want to move to another country or travel this year, travel to some place that you feel is exotic. Some of you may want to, you're really doing some seeking. It's really the house of seeking. You could really be on an awakening path right now, an ascension path. And all of this, again, it's trining your energy. So it's very lightening for you. And look out on the 29th so that new moon is the 26th and 27th, depending on your time zone. Around the 29th, we're going to have that cazimi, which could bring in new revelations or insights for any of those areas I just mentioned. Saturn in Aries, moving into your 7th house, conjuncting Neptune. This is a new 14-year era for you in relationships. You are going to be focused with Neptune here when it activates. When Saturn and or Neptune activate anything in your 7th house, any of your Libra energy, you are going to feel a desire to bring your life more into alignment, your relationship life in particular, more into alignment with your heart, more into alignment with your soul. New dreams, new visions. Ideal. What is the ideal? What would be my ideal partner? If you don't want a partner, then it would maybe be how do I want to experience my interactions with other people? How do I want to experience my partnership with the divine? And Saturn moving here and conjuncting Neptune. I talk much more about this in my video on Saturn and Neptune entering Aries. I will link to that in the description box below, but I also speak more about it in the first half of this video. Lots of ways Saturn can play out, but Saturn in your 7th house for sure is about boundaries. It's about setting clear boundaries, and it's about, becoming aware of the needs that you have and how you can meet those needs. So Libra, let us pull a card for you now and see what the cards have to say. And it could be doing the work in a relationship. If you are in one and it's not going well, it could be saying, yeah, now it's time we have to go to counseling together. We have to, Saturn is accountability. Saturn is saying, I have to be accountable to my relationship now if I want it to be lasting and fulfilling. Okay, Libra. Your card is exchange energy to create abundance. Okay, the Scorpio full moon is happening in your 2nd house of money, and it's happening on your financial axis. So this card has to do with abundance. It has to do with, it's called the Trader. And clearly he's an artisan. Libra, a lot of you are artists as well, artists. And this is saying if you don't feel abundant and you have something that you want to create, or, you just want more money, love, flow in your life, more abundance, abundance can be a lot of things, right? Start to think about how you can do energy exchanges with other people and make sure that you are charging for whatever you're offering, or that you are offering something that feels like it's of like value, so that you feel like it's a fair exchange. Because Libra, as you know, fairness is very, very important to you. If you want to claim that you have abundance in your life, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear. Virgo, hello, beautiful Virgo. Virgo, I think that this month will be a relief for you. Why do I say this? Neptune, Mercury, Venus, and Saturn have all been opposing you. They've all been in Pisces opposing your energy. Could have felt very heavy to you. Well, guess what, beautiful Virgo? Those planets are moving on. Mercury and Venus have already moved on. Neptune has just moved on recently. And now Saturn on May 24th or 25th, depending on your time zone, is also moving on. And this is going to be, I think, a weight lifted off of you. Now, the month opens with Venus conjunct Neptune in the 8th house. Venus and Neptune in the 8th house. Wow, could be a sizzling kind of transit for you. Why? Because Venus and Neptune are the octaves of love, and they are their passion, their ideal. 8th house is finances. The 8th house is emotional and sexual intimacy. It's a lot of other things as well, but you could have a moment that is transformational for you, because the 8th house takes us often through a death and rebirth process, even if it's just psychological. It's a deep psychological house of power, house of control. So you may find yourself navigating an issue of power or control with another person during this time of Neptune moving through your 8th house. Neptune will move through your 8th house for a full 14 years. And it's being activated by different planets along the way, of course, like Venus at the beginning of this month. Then it will get activated by Saturn later. I'll speak about that in a moment. Just know that the 8th house brings up desires that are quite primal, desires for partnership where we are sharing resources, desires for, those deep to merge with partners. And when I say merge, I mean having that amazing, passionate kind of connection with another person. That's the 8th house. But also it can be, I want my own home, or I want to have a nest egg that I know I can retire on. It can be those things as well. Venus conjunct Neptune can bring in a very fleeting romantic encounter. So just being aware of that. We can really project onto another person something that isn't actually true about them. The famous seeing through rose-colored glasses phrase that we use. So just staying aware of that if you're highly sensitive and you don't want to experience the fall that can come after the high when we do that. Now, on May 12th, Virgo, we're going to have a full moon in Scorpio that is going to be harmonious to your energy. It's going to sextile your energy, which is an opportunity or a solution. It's something tangible and potentially emotionally freeing to you, because it's Scorpio energy. It can be deep, it could be lovely, it could be very sweet. However, it's going to make an opposition, the full moon, to Uranus, which could be something that happens that is discombobulating, shocking, upsetting in some way, something very unexpected. A Uranus moment can be a breakdown that then leads us to a breakthrough. It can be an appliance or something electrical, a car breaking down. But ultimately, what does Uranus want to do? It wants to take us out of our normal routine and show us something we didn't see, so that we can get back on track if we're at all off of our track. The full moon is happening in your 3rd house, which may be drawing you to look at communication, look at your mindset, your inner narrative. Is it healthy? Is it bringing you the results that you want in terms of creating the experiences that you want to have? Uranus will be in your 9th house of epiphanies, expansion, higher learning, long distance travel. So you could have a surprising moment or new information coming in, or something releasing. You could be releasing a program, inner programming or belief, or religion or anything that has felt stifling to you. That could happen as well. But keep in mind, Virgo, that the full moon sextiles you, the actual moon in Scorpio sextiles you, and the Sun in Taurus and Uranus in Taurus trine your energy. So oftentimes when we're getting this really positive energy from Uranus, it comes through in more of an epiphany, an aha moment, some sort of revelation that is a breakthrough for us. Who doesn't love those kinds of breakthroughs? Mercury will be in Taurus from May 10th to the 25th. That is going to help you ground your plans or any kind of messaging that you receive that you want to put into practice or that you want to share with other people. Teaching, growing, learning. Mercury and Taurus will help you with that. It will just help. I think Mercury and Taurus is going to help everyone to just feel more grounded. Our thoughts will be more based on material, security, finances, but also, you know, growing gardens and, you know, eating good food, taking care of our bodies, enjoying the pleasures of life. Gemini season for you, Virgo, is happening in your 10th house of career. This is an important point in your chart. It's the most public place of your chart. It's your public image. It's career, legacy, life purpose expressed, how you want to spend your precious time, as Mary Oliver so beautifully describes it, retirement or semi-retirement. It does make a square to your energy. Gemini energy does. We have a new moon here. We have the sun here. We're going to have a Mercury cazimi here. All of this is happening from the 20th to the end of the month. And what it's saying for you is that, well, big picture, the focus is going to be on your career, but also, or retirement or how you spend your time. I know a lot of you say, I don't have a career, then how does this apply to me? But the fact that all this Gemini energy and the Gemini new moon, which is a beautiful new moon, by the way, Virgo, it's a beautiful new moon, really nice for your career. The square just means that there's some tension or pressure or, you know, sometimes we have a heavy workload. We have a lot we have to do. We have something we want to do that feels scary, that we have to go out of our comfort zone. Maybe you want to start a new business. Maybe you want to claim that you are a new title. Maybe you're hanging your shingle out for something and it's scary to you. That could be what the square is. Sometimes we just have to overcome inertia or overcome our fears, you know, self-doubt, all those things. The Mercury cazimi on the 29th of the month may bring you clarity, new possibilities, new potential, and you will have that square energy to move you into action. Saturn going into Aries, conjuncting Neptune and Aries in your 8th house of power is a big deal, especially if you have planets or points between 0 to 3 degrees of Aries or the other cardinal signs. This is helping you, though, in its highest expression to put structure to your vision, to bring a dream, a vision, something your heart really wants, bring it into form. Saturn can create, you know, restrictions for sure. Saturn can be an authority figure, not giving us what we want. Saturn can be a partner, you know, going cold on us. Saturn can create emotional distance. But if it's something you really want, then keep going on it, Virgo. Keep going on it. For some of you, it might be financial independence. For some of you, it might be buying a home. For some of you, it might be building a nest egg or attracting a deeply intimate partner, you know, where you have a very strong soul connection. It will be a deeply psychological, growthful transit for you, Neptune and Aries is a new era. Okay, Virgo, I'm going to pull a card for you now. Virgo, what is your card? Ooh, direction, guardian, choose your path. What I love about this card is all the spirit animals, and it's so green. And whenever I see green, I think of your energy, Virgo. I think because you're an earth sign and you're the practical healer archetype, you are the person who's always saying, I'll help, I'll jump in. You know, when you see a need, you want to help. You improve, you help create order out of chaos. You are there. You are one of the best. I have some really close friends, and my daughter who has this, I mentioned a Scorpio moon, she has a Virgo sun. Virgo people, for me as a Gemini, our energy does square Virgo and Gemini, and yet, because we're both Mercury ruled, we do have things in common, and I find that Virgos can be the best friends. I love my Virgo friends so much. I can depend on them. They're reliable. That's you, Virgo. That's you. So this card for you, Direction Guardian, it's saying it's time to choose your path. You may have a lot of different ways you could go. You may be having a hard time choosing. Sometimes that's because of perfectionism. The South Node is in your sign. It wants us to release perfectionism over the next 18 months. It wants us to release the feeling that we have to do things a certain way, that we have to get it right. I love the phrase for Virgo energy, I haven't done anything wrong. Virgo, I'm going to say it to you. You haven't done anything wrong. It's important for Virgos to often to use that phrase when they feel stuck, when they feel afraid, self-doubting, because I believe that Virgo people with strong Virgo energy in their charts have had a lot of lifetimes of being punished for things they didn't even do. And now it's like they're in the subconscious. So you can see that you're getting courage from the lion, and Mars is in Leo. Here we have the Taurus bull, I believe that's stabilizing you. And then I always think of the bird energy as air energy. So let's say this is the Gemini. It's also helping you. And these are, we've got a lot of energy in all of these signs this month. So how perfect is that? How synchronistic is that? Beautiful Virgo. If anything that I shared with you resonates, let me know. And if you want to claim your path, your right path, let us know in the comments below. Leo. Hello, beautiful Leo. Leo. We are coming off of a very intense transit that you most likely have felt, especially if you have planets or points in the early degrees of your sign. Mars is done with its retrograde. It is now this month of May moving out of its post-retrograde shadow, and the Mars-Pluto opposition, Mars in your sign opposing Pluto, is now separating. As of the beginning of May, it will be 3 degrees apart. When this video goes live, it will be fully activated, so you may be watching then. But just know as May begins, they will be 3 degrees apart, and that opposition will continue to separate. So there is relief in sight. The good news is with Mars in your sign, Leo, first of all, it helps you to advocate for yourself. It helps you cut ties to anything toxic. It helps you to say no and set boundaries. And it's in your first house of the self and of identity. So it can really get you, motivated and activated to move in a direction that is inspiring to you, that feels good to you. It can really be energetically stimulating for us and get us, making us feel like we're up to putting more effort, time, more, energy into something. Also, now that Mars is out of its post-retrograde shadow, that means that it's in new territory. It's traveling over new degrees as of the date that happens. All the dates are in the first part of this video. And that means that you could feel like I'm finally getting somewhere. I'm through the hard part. You may look back on April and say, or even the past number of months. Mars has been retrograde since December 6th. So you could have had something happen that early December period too that was rough. But tension, pressure, feeling squeezed. Many of you, again, planets or points in the low degrees of your sign, the early degrees, like 0 to 6. You have felt, many of you, squeezed. That is ending. We are going to have a potentially tumultuous full moon in Scorpio. It's happening in your 4th house of home and family. So anything to do with a family member, it may not be you, but you could be in that environment in which something is going on with someone else. It's going to the moon will oppose the sun in your 10th house of career, and Uranus will also be there. What does that mean? It means that something in your career or somebody having to do with your career could say something, do something that shocks you. Something could break down. And that is usually pretty upsetting when it happens, but it's meant to free you from anything that is not in alignment with you. It's meant to ultimately liberate and free you. Not easy when it happens, I know. Sometimes it's a sign that we have to say yes to ourselves more. We have to be more good to ourselves, so to speak. I don't think more good. No, I don't think I said that. But you know what I mean? Like we have to be better to ourselves. We have to be more generous. That's what I meant to say. Leo, you are quite generous. You are one of the most generous signs. That's what I love about your energy. But are you generous with you? A lot of you are. Some of you may resonate with what I just said, though. That full moon, you're going to feel it strongly. It's happening May 12th. It's going to make a T-square to your energy. So you may just have to create some sort of a shift. It could be one of those where you just feel like there's a lot going on and something's got to give. However, the exciting news is that a new era is beginning for you in your 9th house of expansion. The 9th house is where we want to take trips, long distance travel. We want to explore. We want new scenery. We are opening up to the house of seeking, where we're learning new things. We're publishing. We're putting out a podcast. What else are we doing in the 9th house? We are learning new languages. We're interacting with people from other countries. We're doing things that feel very expansive on a spiritual level. New adventures, okay? That is where the new era is happening for you. The new era of Neptune and Aries. That's happening in your 9th house of expansion. What a beautiful place. Not only that, it's Aries energy, which is fire. That means it trines your energy. That means you've got the wind at your back to expand. And some of you in that 14-year period that we're going to have that has already begun, you may end up publishing something, teaching something, creating something that ends up being some sort of a legacy for you. What is your dream? When I talk about all these 9th house matters and new horizons and new scenery and new adventures, what comes to you? That's what Neptune will support you with. Saturn will enter Aries at the end of this month. It's the 24th and 25th, depending on your time zone. They are going to come together, and Saturn in its highest expression says, I want to help you. I want to help you solidify this. I want to help you make this real. That's the highest expression. The lower expression is Saturn is a wet blanket. It's a killjoy. It's saying, no, you can't have this. You have to do this and this and this first. It's usually a delay, not a denial. But if what we want is an ego-based goal rather than a soul goal, Neptune may nix it. Saturn and Neptune together may nix it. Neptune is requiring us, that requiring is kind of a harsh word. I don't mean it that way. Neptune is guiding us, is moving us in the direction of our soul. So it has to be something that lights up your heart. But you get a trine. So I think this energy for you, it's just really, really lovely for your Leo energy. Plus, we're also going to have a conjunction of Venus and Neptune in your 9th house at the beginning of the month. And during this month, Venus and Aries will make a trine to Mars in your sign. That's your inner masculine, your inner feminine coming together, working together. So you will probably feel this month, all of these things are contributing to you to feel more in flow, more in alignment with the wholeness of you. On May 20th, this is a good month for you, Leo. So much of this energy, the full moon is going to be tumultuous, I think, for some of you. But besides that, you're getting all of these wonderful transits. May 20th, that's when the sun moves into Gemini. The sun in Gemini makes a sextile to your energy. Again, tangible blessings, opportunities, solutions, connections with other people, community building. The new moon in Gemini happening on the 26th or 27th, depending on your time zone, happens in your 11th house of hopes, wishes, and dreams, long-term financial gains. It can be wonderful financially. It can be wonderful in terms of attracting more people into your quote-unquote tribe. It can be wonderful for your online presence or for anything that you do that puts your message out into the world, that gets it out to more people. Also promoting social media, your social media presence, all of that is uplifted during Gemini season. Gemini season begins on May 20th. The new moon is on the 26th. It's a beautiful new moon. I say more about that new moon in the first part of this video, and I, of course, will do a separate video on all the moons. I always do videos on all the moons, separate ones for all of you. That will be coming. You are also going to feel, I think, with the Mercury Cazimi that we have at the end of this month, a sense of understanding, awareness, epiphanies, new ideas streaming through, clarity perhaps. But remember, with so much Gemini wind in your sails, beautiful Leo, the world is your oyster. The world is your oyster. Let us see what the cards have to say for you now. Leo, your card is Ooh, trust your talents in changing times. The spirit fox. You have what you need to move through change. Yes, we are going through a huge time of change. Yes, it can be discombobulating. Yes, it feels like one thing after another. You have been through it, Leo. You've been through it with the Mars-Pluto opposition. You've been through it with the Taurus new moon squaring your energy. You've been through it. But I think you're going to shake all of that off, including the Scorpio full moon on the 12th. I think you're going to shake all of that off after the 13th of this month and start to feel the wind at your back. Trust your talents in changing times. The spirit fox, such a sweetness to this fox. This is you, Leo. So sweet. Trust your heart. Trust the purity of your soul. Know that you have everything you need for success. If you want to claim this in the comments below, let us know. I would love to hear. Cancer. Hello, beautiful Cancer. Cancer. What I love about this month for you is, well, there are a lot of things. First of all, the month begins with a very bright moment of joy, connection, feeling loved and appreciated, perhaps, feeling recognized, perhaps, in your 10th house of career, legacy, retirement, semi-retirement, life purpose expressed, how you spend your time, what brings you meaning and fulfillment. Venus coming together with Neptune can be, I know what I want to do and I'm going to do it. You could have a real moment of insight, or you could meet someone and have a real romantic encounter with somebody that feels very uplifting, that takes you up into the ethers, into a moment of bliss. That could happen as well. Someone that's connected to your career in some way. This is Venus and Neptune coming together in your 10th house. Now, Mars will finally leave its post-retrograde shadow in your second house of money, earned income, your material security, your values, aligning your life with the things that matter most to you, and, self-love. So why is this important? Because Mars, having transited your second house, may have, it's a time of reflection, a retrograde. It's a time of review. You may have had some bumpy moments during that time. You may have had some confusing moments. You may have felt like, I don't know what's going on with my income. That is shifting now. Now Mars can move forward in your second house. It's still in Leo, but it can move forward, and it's in new territory, new degrees. So that means for us, we're moving into something new. It doesn't have to be a new income. It doesn't have to be new this or that. It just means that new life is happening. We're no longer retracing our steps. Retracing our steps can be monotonous, right? It can be like, oh my gosh, this again, or it just can feel heavy and stressful. We're done with that. The full moon in Scorpio is happening for you, Cancer. It trines your energy, first of all. And I forgot to say, I'm Cancer moon, Cancer rising. For those of us who are Cancer risings, those of you who are Cancer rising, it trines your energy. Of course, it trines all Cancer energy. But for Cancer rising people, it's in your 5th house. It's happening in your 5th house of love, romance, creativity, and children. This is going to be a potent full moon, meaning emotionally potent. Scorpio is co-ruled by Mars and Pluto. Pluto is now retrograde. It tells me that we're probably going to feel inwardly. We might be working something out inwardly that is emotional for us. We are shedding a skin perhaps during this full moon now because it's trining your energy. It may just be joy. Like for me, it's in my 5th house of children. Well, love and romance would be amazing. That would be lovely. But it could be a creative project, or it could be time with my children, since I am now here in the area where my children live. It opposes Uranus and Taurus, and Uranus and Taurus right now for you is transiting your 11th house. 11th house is hopes, wishes, and dreams, your house of fulfillment, your house of tribe, your house of social media platforms, any online presence that you have, where you want support, where you market your work if you do, where you put the word out about anything that you do to other people. If you have followers or, people, an audience at all for what you do, that all falls in the 11th house. And it's also long-term financial gains. So Uranus has been transiting the 11th house, obviously, for all Cancer rising people for a very long time. It's at its end degrees. If you have planets or points, Cancer, in the end degrees, you could have a Uranus moment, but remember that Uranus sextiles your energy. So the full moon, the actual moon trines your energy, moon in Scorpio trines you, Uranus and Taurus sextiles your energy. that usually means something that whatever happens that's unexpected is often something that is stimulating. It brings a breakthrough. It could be something new and refreshing and different and fun. It could be that you want to do some sort of online dating. Although I have to say, Uranus with online dating can bring very fleeting romances. So take that for what it is. I would say that what it is for you. I would say that this is an invitation, this full moon, to transform our fears into passion and any disempowered pattern that we have with ourselves, with others, that we let it compost. We take it to the compost pile. Gemini season will be happening in your 12th house, the mystical 12th house of rest and retreat. This is the house of the subconscious mind as well. We're getting a beautiful new moon in Gemini, trining Pluto, conjunct Mercury, which also trines Pluto. So this is going to be quite a boost of power for many of us. And I would say you may want to rewrite your inner narrative. You may want to create a new story that's in alignment and very supportive of what you want to co-create with the universe. You may get a powerful revelation. You could have really intense dreams, and sometimes those intense dreams can be amazing and wonderful, right? I think that this new moon in Gemini season for you, given that it's happening, Gemini is in your 12th house, is helping you to step up your sense that you can do and have and be what you want, that you can follow what your heart is guiding you toward. And finally, dear Cancer, the new era will begin, the new era of Neptune in Aries and Saturn entering Aries and meeting up with Neptune at the end of this month. It's the 24th and 25th, depending on your time zone. That begins in your 10th house of career. Life purpose expressed, legacy, retirement, semi-retirement, fulfillment. This is for you. With Neptune here and Saturn here too. Saturn is saying, okay, you want this? Let's make it real. Let me help you make it real. Saturn will have things that we're required to do. Of course, that's Saturn. It will bring in mundane and sometimes very annoying tasks that we have to do. It can bring in people that say no or that delay us in some way. But ultimately, Saturn helps us solidify a structure for what our dream is, and it helps us to create boundaries around it. So this is a chance, this new era for you, Cancer, is a chance for you to live truer to yourself than you have ever lived before, and to factor yourself in, because Cancers have a tendency to give to others. They feel others' energy before they even feel their own. We Cancers have a tendency to mold ourselves at times around the needs of others because we are that empathic. And this transit of Neptune and Saturn is saying, we can't do that anymore. You're a human being. You have limited energy. You have to set boundaries, and you don't have time for everything, perhaps, at least all at once. But Aries energy inspires us, and it does square your energy. Aries does square your energy. So what does that mean? Motivation, drive, passion, some tension, some pressure, all along the way or somewhere along the way, depending on when it's activating your actual natal chart, your planets and points in your natal chart. We don't feel these transits until we get that activation to our natal planets or points. But the inspiration will be there. The desire to take action will be there. Beautiful Cancer. Let me now pull a card for you and see what the cards have to say for your month of May. Let us see. Cancer. Your card is Mother Earth. Feel loved and comforted. Wow. Well, Cancer, here you are with the pregnant belly. This could be a metaphor. You could be pregnant with something. This card to me is a strong call to get connected to the earth if you're not grounded right now. If you are not doing something that is making you feel abundant, that is making you feel like you are about to give birth to something important in your life, if you are not feeling that, plant something, grow something, go out in nature more, put your feet on the earth, give yourself the time. And I know this is easier said than done. I also struggle at times with this. Give yourself the time, the timeouts, the few moments here and there, the walks, what you need to connect with Mother Earth and to feel supported by Mother Earth. Mother Earth supports you. Is there something that you are ready to give birth to that you feel especially is going to help the earth in some way, that's going to help community in some way, that's going to, doesn't have to make it direct, it could be indirect, because it fulfilling you fulfilled is a gift to the earth, Cancer. But if there's something that you would like to share with us, and or if you would like to claim that you are loved and comforted, let us know in the comments below. I would love to hear. My beautiful friend, thank you so much for joining me for this May astrology video. I am so happy that you are part of our like-minded community. If you enjoyed this video, thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. All of these make a huge difference to the support of the channel, and they activate the algorithm, which then puts this video out to more people who are interested in astrology, and that itself has a ripple effect as well. If you would like to do a one-on-one astrology consultation with me, go to my website, check out my offerings. We can do a natal chart, heart's desire, life purpose, relationship harmony, lots of options to choose from. We can do a 90-minute reading if you would like more time to discuss something that is very important to you, very much on your heart right now. And I also offer coaching, clarity sessions. So go to my website, check out the testimonials that other clients have shared after working with me, and you should get a sense of whether you feel called to book an astrology reading or a coaching session. As promised, I have a free gift for you. Go to my website. You can get a free instant download of my soothing guided meditation, reconnecting to your spirit, reconnecting to your heart. It is my intention that you connect to your intuitive guidance and that you feel the love of your soul during this meditation. If you'd like that, go to my website, subscribe for free to receive my weekly inspirational astrology updates. That is the astrology between videos. You will get those direct to your inbox before they go out on social media. And you will also be able to download that free meditation at the same time. My beautiful friend, let us know your thoughts or feelings or comments about May's astrology. And until my next video, I am sending you all my love.